Here we go. Cora!
Hi.
Hi!
Hello. I'm trying to get in view.
What's up, fam?
What's up? I know it's crazy because it's a small screen, but you know, you could put more of the camera on Cora and then Steph could just talk on the. No, I was kidding. I'm just kidding. You're my favorite, Steph.
Hey, man,
it's good
I'm just trying to stay in good graces, brother. I'm trying to stay in good graces.
Hey, that's what I'm trying to do. I always take notes from all the happy married people because I'm like, man, whenever I get married, I need this to make this happen forever, like you two. So I'm always taking notes. Hi, Farron. Now, everybody who's hopping on or everybody who watches this after, as I was saying, this is my favorite, one of my favorite couples in the whole world because, you guys know I got a lot of favorites, but one of my favorite couples in the whole world. This is Cora and Steph Miller. They are, man, Cora's my cousin and Steph is like a brother to me, like the big brother that I've always wanted. Every time I'm with him, he's always dropping knowledge. Man, me and him had like one of the best car rides I've ever had in 2019, 2018, and 2020 when I was in Atlanta this year. Like, he was dropping so many bars. Steph, you were dropping so many bars, and I was trying to take notes on my phone as fast as I could, but I was sleepy from jet lag. And man, you are.
I got a little vocal at time. I think I might have been a little inspired by a little beverage, but hopefully it was some good knowledge in there.
A cerveza or two, but it's all good. So, but again, I know you guys are busy, and I like for people on this platform to tell me about themselves. I'm going to ask you two very important questions. As always, be open and honest, and just this is going to be shared on YouTube, Facebook, and your kids. Kay's going to watch this. Josh is going to watch this. Our kids are going to watch this till the end of time. So when they go back and they say, "I wonder what my parents were like," they're going to see us on there, and they're going to be like, "Dang, they did that thing in 2020." So first and foremost, I want you two to just tell the world about yourselves. Cora, Steph, doesn't matter who goes first. Talk about your background and just tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So, Cora Miller checking in. I am originally from Southern California, born and raised, Cali life, but went to school in the South. So went to UNC Chapel Hill, go Tar Heels, and then moved down to Atlanta to go to grad school, where I met this special one in Atlanta. So currently I work for a large healthcare company. I manage our philanthropic kind of grant making and social responsibility activities. So we do a lot of kind of community investments and making sure that we're just making communities and people better. So he always calls me the do-gooder.
Yeah, and if Cora's a do-gooder, I'm the kind of classic marketer. I will sell you anything and make you love it regardless. But born and raised Atlanta, Georgia, went to school here in Atlanta. So HBCU alum, went to Morehouse. I worked in the house, come and join. So over time, man, I've been fortunate to be in sitting in a lot of corporate seats. So I've done sales and consulting from IBM, went back to business school up at Northwestern and Kellogg. Worked at Johnson & Johnson, General Mills, worked at Coca-Cola, where I ran Sprite for North America, and then now at Red Bull. All that really doesn't matter because truly I am Cora's intern as that comes to life. So I just actually, I'm just here to work for your cousin, man. But, we've been fortunate, man. I've been in a good place to be, where I've been exposed to things across my life, and super fortunate, man, and we just try to as a unit try to impart the knowledge that we both have on each other to make us better.
Yeah,
look at that. Look what I tell you.
The both
Go ahead.
I said when forces combine, we're really excited because we launched a brand new business brand, Young King Hair Care. And so we launched that in December 2019 at the end of the year, but I've been working on this for over a year, well over a year. And so we're just really excited about Young King Hair Care, what that means for Black and brown boys. I guess I should say what we actually do. So Young King Hair Care, it's a natural hair care line intentionally crafted for boys. So our goal is to really redefine kind of male grooming, and that really starts with our boys, and making sure that they have options to really present their best selves each and every day.
So everybody that follows Mark Cook.
Uh-oh. They might have. It's okay.
It's like, we're trying to keep people more looking like Mark and less like this. So yes, I'm a bald head man that is part of a hair care company, but you know, we just really want to help the next generation, partly because this generation lost it all.
And I do want to add on to that. Again, this is all honesty and all respect, but it's crazy how the timing was for their product line, right? Because my son Joshua has curly hair just like me, and he has great curly hair. Like, his curly hair is very, very nice. And I tried product after product after product. I would literally take him to daycare at 7, and I come back and his hair is dry. I mean, it is drier than the Sahara Desert. And I was like, well, I want this hair. Like, how long does this last? And I would keep him. And I'm like, man, this barely lasts 2 hours. Like, why is his hair okay? His hair's so dry. I need something for his hair. And I tried everything. I don't want to say any names just in case they, they might pick me up later. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I'm just saying nothing worked. And then boom, they came out with Young Kings. And again, all seriousness, Young Kings is good for his hair. His curls be looking juicy. I'm talking like falling grip juicy. Like, his curls look so good. And I'm like, when you ask God for something, he will deliver. And, and when I say not just for my son's hair, but as I was mentioning before you two came on, I was saying that I want to own businesses in my family. I've always thought this. I've always been a hustler. I know, Steph, we were talking about in the car, but I've always been the person that either sold candy or found a way to hustle. I've sold Cutco knives. I still do Herbalife. Like, I'm always the one hustling, trying to make money outside of a job. There's nothing wrong with having a job, but I was like, I got to find something for myself. And I can say in our family, we really don't own businesses. Lord knows we get degrees. We get degrees. They're all up on the wall at our grandma's house. We get education, and that's great. But you don't necessarily have to have a degree to get a business. But we don't have a business that we can call our own, and then boom, Young King comes out in 2019. And like a year before that, boom, I'm with PHP, and I'm using my vehicle to build a financial services firm to where I can teach the generations after me about financial literacy. And you guys already know Young King is not the end. You guys are going to make Young King a multi-billion-dollar company, and whether you sell it or we expand out to California or whatever happens, you might start another business and another business. So this is this is like the prototype. This is the baby, but it's a good product because our Young Kings need good hair care products. So I want to show you guys that respect, okay?
Yeah, man, we appreciate it, man. And I think, I think you said something in there that truly stands out, right? In terms of just having the ability to want to go and try things, right? It's like, I think we've all been gifted and we're all here and we have a purpose of like sharing something great with everyone. And like, we came out, we would have never thought about 3 years ago having a hair care company, right? And it wasn't until we had our son. So a lot of us actually have people and ideas that are already with us. And it's just truly like put some fire in and make that, it starts to smoke and then make it a fire and look to build that over time. And don't be scared to try it. Right?
It's so funny. I was just asked recently, have you always like thought you were going to be an entrepreneur? Is that something that you grew up knowing you wanted to do? And I was like, actually, no. Like, to your point, Mark, in our family, we didn't really have a lot of people that had their own businesses. Yeah, we had some cousins that, had stores and did things like that. But just growing up and seeing it all the time, that wasn't my experience.
Right.
It was kind of, you're going to get your education, you're going to go to college, and you're going to have a great career. Like, that's your path. But to your point, it can be different for anyone. And I think starting a business is all about kind of what your passion area is and turning that passion point and your inspiration into something that actually makes sense and that other people see as a gap and a need too. Because that's the important thing about a business. It's like, it's one thing to start a business just to start it because you love it, but it's another thing to start a business and actually fill a void somewhere, right? And so you have to, if anything, when you're starting a business, you have to figure out what is that white space, what is that void, and merge that with what your passion is.
Girl, I wrote that down. I like that. And they need to, girl. And before I forget, Annalisa asked, can young queens use it too? Because she said her young queen needed.
Yes, yes.
And then think about
Okay.
it. Look, Young King's been using female products for a long time before we came around. So,
Right.
you know, we're intentionally made for the boys, but we're always willing to share, and it's always good. We have
I
an
know.
approachable,
Yeah.
That's how it is.
approachable
You know how
scent.
they say when in a marriage is like what's hers is hers, but what's mine is hers. Do
Yeah.
I get that? But no,
But
that
yeah,
was
I mean, I use our products in my hair. It's really, it can be used for anyone, from babies all the way to adults. But you know, our sweet spot is really for young boys and making sure that they have representation in kind of beauty and hair care.
I mean, let's keep it a band. You go to Walmart or anywhere, and there's like rows of girl products, right? And then for the men, it's like a do-rag, curl, three,
Like
right?
that.
So
Sporting waves.
you see do-rag, pick, brush, some curl stuff right here, and how to get waves. And that's it. That's literally all we got. And some clippers. Like, we have nothing.
Yeah.
So slap in Young King in there. You know what I'm saying? We need that. Trust me. Now.
Yeah, that. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that it's so funny you said that, because when I first, talked to Steph about this idea, I asked him, like, what was your experience like growing up with hair? Like, just curious for boys, because right, and like having boy cousins too. Like, I just never felt like there was a tension with boys' hair like it was for us girls growing up. Like, us girls, it was like very much, you wash your hair, you go to the hair salon, like, you take care of it, like, it needs to be looking nice all the time. But I just never remember, like, for you or like my cousins, if just talking about hair care for a boy. Like, I don't think that's a part of our conversation.
It's not, because we just get haircuts,
Right?
or we
Like,
either got the fro, the
Uh-huh.
dreads, or we get a haircut, or we just go bald. After we hit that line, it's like, well, bald is the way. But you know what?
Pray Kate doesn't go in that direction.
I don't want to disrespect my favorite little cousin, my favorite little homie, Kate. You guys have a son.
Yeah.
How old is he? Tell the word about him. He's probably in the background. You'd have to get him on, but tell us about being parents to a son. I want to hear about my homie. I miss him.
Yeah, man. So it is crazy. So Kate is 3 now. We call him our little mobile terrorist going around the house, just because he's always moving around, man. But we love it because he's always staying active, super friendly, man. And he's just, we had kind of call him our pseudo chief inspiration officer, right? Like, the company wouldn't have been around without him. And even in times of now when things are crazy out in the world and it's super stressful, man, he just brings happiness because he's still at that beautiful age where kids are carefree, man. Like, he's just happy, wants hugs, and wants to be able to operate. So, we're blessed to have him in the family. I keep telling Cora all the time that only children are cool. So it's all right. I'm an only child. But everybody on this should know that Mark and Cora come from a huge family. So they only know cousins on cousins on cousins. They hazed me when I came in. Just kidding. But no, in all seriousness, man, he's a great kid, man. We just have been proud of how he just inspires us to do this. This is why we have our day jobs, but we still work every night. We were joking. We were up to like 2:40 last night between packing orders, working on the business, and it's all in the notion of what we frequently say is, when Cade's 18, we don't want to hand them a job application. We want to hand them an empire, right? And I think that's kind of our goal of, like, how do we set him up and really change that change the generational wealth dynamic that happens within the Black community today.
Amen.
We can end it right there. That's what I was gonna say next. Like,
drop the mic.
Drop the bomb. That's the wrap. That's it. Because that's literally what I was about to say. I was like, you guys are building an empire under his feet, and that's the one thing. And again, I'm not attacking anybody or anybody's brand or anything like that, but what we need in the Black community is exactly that. And I always give people these facts, especially when I do interview with Black people. I'm very open when I do recruiting interviews because I'm always recruiting for my company. And I said, there's about 44 million people, Black people in America right now. We make about 13% of the population, but we only make up 1.5% of the wealth in this nation. That is a problem. Not only do we need to build empires, we also need to buy Black. So you guys have a Black business out of Atlanta, a very Black rich place, that's building an empire under their Black son's feet that they can pass on to him. He can pass on to his kids, and they're going to keep building under that. So that 1.5 man, it might turn to 2.7, and then me and Josh take off and it turns to 3.6. And then,
Yeah.
you know, we have cousins who have a boy and a girl, or, you know, Phil has 2 girls and a boy, and they're building something under their feet. So we're always trying to pass on that generational wealth, but it has to start right now. We cannot wait any longer. So I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, you know, that was first and foremost in even thinking about this business and what we wanted it to be, right? Like a lot of times, especially now that we're new in kind of the startup world, right? We're considered a tech-enabled company, all of this lingo that I'm learning. But, you know, the question that investors always ask or want to understand is like, well, what is your end goal? Are you trying to sell? Like, what are you trying to do? And for us, we've kind of wrestled with that question because, yeah, obviously the money is great, right? Like you when you sell, you do make that huge kind of win, and you get to, you know, still build kind of your legacy from that because you have so much money. But also you still want a piece of what you created, and you want a piece of that so you can pass that down to your son so he can create on top of that. So that's, I think, I would say a struggle, especially with those that are entrepreneurs starting their businesses and trying to figure out what their end game is and what they want to do long term, and what that could look like for their future kind of children.
And it's important. I will tell everybody on here. And then, you know, obviously, like Mark's created this platform to be able to share with everyone, but being able to leverage resources. I mean, we've become so much more knowledgeable. Like we were fortunate where you know, we participated in an accelerated program with Target, right? And we were able to do that, you know, when we were 2-3 months in as a brand. And then like we learned so much, and just by being around people that were truly trying to help out and people that wanted to educate and really felt about how are you growing businesses holistically. So it doesn't always have to be the biggest name program. Everybody doesn't have to be the biggest retailer, but there's so many resources out there that like, or where the playbook is out there that you can go learn from. But you just have to look for it. If you're just waiting for it to fall in your lap, it won't happen. But the idea might fall into your lap, but the execution of the idea is you got to put a little work into.
Yeah, I think you just maybe, I mean, the grind is real. Like for anything that you do, right? Whether it's school or career, like, you know, you have to grind, but the building a business, that entrepreneur grind is something different.
It is tired.
So you have to, when you're committed, you have to go all in, because you will spend countless number of late nights, you know, finding those resources, networking, you know, creating your business strategy, your plan, your market, all of these pieces that you're just doing, you know, together. But just imagine the people that are doing it by themselves, like what that requires. So it just takes really that grit and that stamina when you're really trying to create something that I think a lot of people don't go into business realizing.
Amen. And I want to address, I got a question for you about Target, but my first thing is that I want to address is, again, we're all so proud of you. This platform is used for people to take notes. I don't care if it's one person that watches it or 1 million people that watch, because again, when I post it, it's going to get views again. But what I want people to understand is what they're saying is 1,000% accurate. Cora mentioned it before, is when you have a gift and a passion, man, you can use that to change your life and change others' lives. And most people ask me, well, what if I don't know my gift? What if I don't know my passion? Think about this. What is something that you're good at that other people struggle with? And the number one fear in the world is public speaking. Well, guess what I love to do? Public speaking. I love talking to people. I love getting on Instagram Live. So yes, I want to monetize it, but I want to use my platform to change the world. And I want you guys to talk about your dynamics in the relationship. That's kind of my next step. And then I'm going to go into my question about Target. But I remember Steph talked about it and you talked about it, Cora. But explain to people, whether you're a couple, I guess this could be addressed to couples, but as couples, man, what are your dynamics in a relationship? How does it work? What are the challenges? Can you address that just a little bit for me?
You want to kick it off?
You ladies first.
So it's interesting you say that. I say, honestly, I think we're good because naturally we balance each other out anyway. I think obviously that we're just compatible people anyway, whereas, you know, my strength, my skills are not his strength and his skills, right? And I think that's just natural in our relationship regardless of business. Well, say in business is, I can definitely say I have so much more respect for Stefan Lawrence Miller.
Full government
In
Hope
just
ain't nobody
his
looking for me.
business acumen and thoughtfulness and strategy and approach, all things that I think, honestly, if I was starting Young King Hair Care by myself, I don't know if I would have made it this far, right? He just brings a different lens because of his career experience and his education and getting an MBA, that has proven to be so valuable for our company. And that also comes in through like just market, because you in order to kind of make money, you have to market yourselves, and that's his expertise. Literally, I'm sitting next to a marketer, and so without that, I don't know that I would have gotten this far. On the flip side, for the perspective that I bring, not only the vision, you know, for having young hair care, but just by nature, I'm a communicator. So I like to write. I like to create content. He knows in my day job, I'm drafting memos, emails, written materials all day long. That's literally all I do is write all day long.
What I do is not that.
So kind of those communication pieces, that's really my that's my sweet spot. And so he has the vision and the big ideas, and I just try to refine it.
Yeah.
I try to refine,
throw a whole bunch out,
and make it easily digestible and understandable, so that when we do, you know, talk to potential investors or talk to other groups, like we have kind of a clear articulation of how, you know, we show up.
Yeah, and I honestly, if I look at the playbook, I know when we first started the company, a lot of people asked us like, "Y'all are married? Y'all sure y'all want to do a business together? Like, y'all really want to do that? Like, y'all gonna be married?"
Yeah.
But honestly, I think, you know, as you look at the audience and who all this video reaches is how do you think strategically about your partners, right? And I think Cora talked about of like the best thing you can do in a business is be 100% honest in what you can't do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And understanding about like, how do I need to supplement myself in terms of finding help to do these things?
Mm-hmm.
I hate writing. I'm like, with the passion. I was educated in Georgia. We have like the 49th school system. It's not my strong suit. I can have an idea, but if you ask me to write a written memo, I would take 10 times as long as Cora would, right? So I think it's, you know, as you're thinking about the people you surround yourself, even if you're a single entrepreneur, but you're looking at outsourcing help and you're doing things, it's like, find somebody that balances you out, and find somebody that you can spar with. We have creative debates all the time, and sometimes we're like, no, why would you do that? And I was like, why wouldn't you do that? Mm-hmm. But it's, you know, Mark, it's like what you said earlier, man. It's like, think about and really look at the talent you have. And I think one of the things that helped us is truly saying like, what do people recognize that you're good at, right? Mm-hmm. What do people play back to you about like, oh, you should do this? Like, if making like a bomb mac and cheese is your thing, start a catering business and sell plates, right?
Of
like,
mac and cheese.
Of mac and cheese, not of everything else.
Right.
That's not your ministry, right?
Stick to your ministry.
But it's truly like, you know, we kind of joking. If you think about people in relationships and all, most of the time, even married folks, right? Like, we've been married almost almost 5 years. I had to look. Yeah. I couldn't remember what year it was.
Bob wedding, by the way.
Yeah, but it is it's interesting because we know each other's job titles, right? We can say, oh, hey, I know Cora works here. I can name here's 3 or 4 coworkers, but we've gained so much more of appreciation about what the other person actually does. Mm-hmm. Cora's like, oh, that's what marketing is. And I'm like, oh, that's what a memo looks like. Or, oh, that's what we need to do. So like, you actually kind of get deeper in appreciation when it's something that you can't do, but you just see somebody like something where you don't have the energy, but then the other person is like, crushed it, done. Mm-hmm. So.
Look at that. Okay, so you guys said all the sweet stuff, but y'all didn't say the challenges.
Challenges. Yeah. You know,
of working with your married partner.
Yeah, you know, look, I'll tell y'all like the honest thing, and one of the things that is one of the things of trying to achieve is balance, right? And balance of like, hey, we opened up, we talked earlier, we have a 3-year-old son. We both have our full-time careers, and like, we are fortunate at the levels that we're at that we get a lot of responsibility, but that responsibility doesn't stop at 5 p.m. Mm-hmm. Right? So a lot of times And you have to be nimble where like, I'm like, oh wait, you got to work tonight? Okay, cool. I can do Young King or this. And like, oh wait, we got a challenge. How can we make sure that we're giving and facilitating the time? You know, I always joke with Cora, is like, I never want to be like a super like CEO or high executive, because they don't balance their lives and family, right? So I think like trying to achieve the balance of still excelling and exceeding in our careers and our day jobs, building something for the future for our son, nurturing our son so that he can be raised in the right way is so key. And you know, I think it's, for us, the challenges too, honestly, like we look at things very differently,
Yeah,
right?
like,
So sometimes
sometimes
it's like, I'm like, why did you think that? Like I'm very comfortable with numbers, and Cora's like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, not your ministry, all right? So like we had to be honest with each other. And like, I think at first we tripped over each other a lot. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna keep telling you. I took a work approach. I'm gonna keep telling you till you listen, and you don't know. And then it was like, nope, and that's still not working. And then it was like, okay, we're gonna try this again. Okay, I guess we can meet in the middle. So it's like, it's that craziness, man. But you gotta be, I think the most important thing is we had to be super clear and authentic with each other. Like, if something doesn't work, you gotta say it. I was like, don't tell me yes because I'm your husband. Like, you know, if that ain't the idea or that don't work, let's not do it, because then that's gonna cost us money, time that we could have been putting energy in elsewhere. But Cora probably got a longer list than I do. I'm gonna get out the screen so like, I can listen. But I don't want anybody to see my face as she says this.
All I was gonna say in your long response was, no. Stop. That's nasty.
Y'all are
no.
Love it.
All I was gonna say is, and just in terms of challenges, I just think, to his point, you know, we just have different ways of approaching things, right? Like, I have a tendency. Well, no, I have a tendency. I get very tactical. Like, I go straight to like, what's the plan? Like, tell me A, B, C, and G. Like, what's the objective? What's the plan? Like, let's just like write it down so we can execute. And Steph is more like, ideas everywhere. Catch them. You got that one? Over here. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, we need to write a plan? Like, let's write it down.
If you wanted to see something funny, it would be watching us prepare for a presentation. Like,
that is true.
It is, like,
we had one yesterday. We had a business meeting yesterday.
And Cora's like, tell me exactly what you're gonna say. I'm like, the spirit's gonna come to me. I'm like, I know it here. She's like, I need to see it on the paper. And I'm like, that's not how I do it. And one time she wrote a big old script for me, and I was like, oh, that's nice. I'm not gonna say it. And then she's like, what do you mean? And so that is definitely part of our funniest times together, is prepping for a meeting.
He doesn't believe
Luckily, they all work out.
Yeah, it works out, but I'd be stressed. No, I'm just kidding.
That's so beautiful. That's what makes it great, because I don't know if you guys are watching this now or you'll watch it later, but you could see the chemistry. Like, you can see how it's like balanced and it fits, and they're still young and they're just molding it together. It's beautiful. You guys need to peep that. So if you are a couple who watching this now and you're looking at your spouse and they're looking at you, you guys got to find your chemistry, then take notes here. Now, if you're a single person and you're trying to figure out, hey, how do I figure this out? I'm getting in business with my spouse, or I'm dating somebody, this would be good to take notes on. Because I'll tell you guys this, in my industry, PHP, it's a good industry. Me and Steph talked about it. But a lot of things that kill a lot of people in the industry is when one spouse does not agree what they're doing in the company, or one spouse is negative Nancy, or one spouse is, I'm not going to that event, or the other spouse is, why do you got so many trainings, or this, and they're just they're just nagging, and you're trying to stay late. You got the blinders on and you're staying focused, and you're just like, I know this is going to be right for the business. And then boom, you take them to a big event, and then they hear Kobe Bryant speak, or they hear George Bush speak, or they hear Eric Thomas speak, and then that spouse is like, now
I get it.
I see why you have so much passion. Now I see why you like this. So again, sometimes the spouses, man, they can be the negative Nancy. They can be the ones that try to bring
you gotta bring people into your vision, man. I think that's the big thing. Is like, people need to be able to see. It's like, we always kind of tell each other, is like, help me see it through your eyes, right? It's largely the same conversation we have with people in the world right now, right? Like, try to see stuff through my eyes, and it builds your perspective and makes you well-rounded and being able to appreciate it, and then see how another person might be interacting with it. So
right. And I think on that same vein, just the recognition that everyone thinks differently or approaches things a different way. And so just having that compassion, I guess, leading with compassion first and understanding first, and recognizing that, yeah, your approach may be different than mine, but I'm going to try to understand it, right? And not just kind of come in automatically thinking that your way is the only way. So I think you just have to balance even just people's thought, like how they process things. Like how I process things is totally different than how Steph does it. And so we've had to learn how to deal with that, because sometimes I'll just be giving him the duh face, like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what just came out of your mouth right now.
Like it's
and then he'll look at me like, I don't understand why you didn't get it. So we just have to like work through that.
That was perfect the way I said it.
Amen. Well, I love it. Now, let me go back to something that I think is very important, especially for my entrepreneurs that watch this, because I have a lot of people who follow me. That's why this movement is called Bigger, Better Business, because I want a lot of people who are starting a business or starting something to watch these talks and go back to them, review them, and take notes. Is because, like you guys mentioned before, some people start alone. Some people start with, like, my company's been around 10 years. But there's people in the industry that have been around 20, 30, 40, 50, hundreds of years. So we're still kind of new, and I'm always taking notes. So with your experience with Target, can you give us, I want to say 5. I don't know if you can get 5, but I want 5 things of the, like, you mandatory have to have this when starting a business. Like, you know, I don't want to put it in your mouth, but even if it's like just a mission statement, like, what's the 5 things that you absolutely have to do first or it won't work?
I was gonna say, I'm gonna let Cora take it, but I'm gonna tell you what I think is the first step, and that is being scrappy. All right. And I'll tell you, you know, like I said, we were fortunate to be in Target's Accelerator program, but it really wasn't the fact that we made it into Target's Accelerator program. It was the 3 steps we took before it. Right. And it was like, for us, I'll just tell y'all super quick, but we had been working on our formulas for a long period of time, and we were trying to get it out. We had planned to officially launch like 2 months earlier than we did. And it was like the beginning of December, and we were like, hey, we're finally going to be able to start selling. But the power of connections and being able to talk to people. So we had a great friend that we connected with that was with Essence. And Essence and Target happened to be doing a partnership for a holiday market. We were able to use that relationship where we received our product on maybe a Monday or Tuesday. I think it was a Monday. And an event was on that Friday. And I just, you know, you gotta be scrappy. And I was like, hey, is there any way we can get in there? Is there any way we can be able to do that? And our friend was able to, you know, leverage her, you know, her ability and influence to be able to get us as one of the influencers in there. What happened from there is how we met Target. So if we had never had the conversation, even get an event, we made our first connection with the Target team at that event. So I'll let Cora take it from there. I know she has all the notes. No, that's real. It's the steps before sometimes.
No, that's good. Yeah, that was good. I was going to say, first and foremost, and somebody's asked me this before, I just feel like anytime you have an idea or a vision, you have to write it down. It doesn't become real until you actually articulate it, right? Like, and for me, that came in the form, and thank God for my husband doing this and pushing me to do this, of a business plan. And it doesn't have to be like a sophisticated 20-page plan that outlines and maps everything that you're planning to do for your company. But it's just a simple articulation on what it is you're trying to do, who you're trying to reach, and why it's important. Like, I just think having those pieces outlined in a way that is understandable, so you can share it with others to validate what you're trying to do and help you understand, like, what areas maybe you could pick apart or kind of think through or brainstorm on. It just pays off in the end, because you're not trying to scramble and figure it out and you feel like you're all over the place. You have a set vision and mission and kind of your roadmap to how you then build out your business.
And when you take the time to do that, it shows your thoughtfulness and care in it, right? You know, Cora kind of frequently jokes, is like, Cora's like, I think we should launch a hair care line. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Tell me why. And then she was like, oh, because we need something for Kate. And I was like, okay, tell me why. And I keep asking her why and why. And she's like, and I was like, hey, go build me a business plan. All right. And I was like, that's how I make decisions at work. So I was very much like, hey, if that's important to you and you truly believe in it, like Cora frequently says now, like when we go have these conversations, it's really easier because she's already had to sell it to me. And now like I'm now that she knows that she was able to articulate it and I was able to buy in, then like, cool. We're like, yo, I'm like, cool. We can go full steam ahead. So
yeah, I think, and that again, that goes back to your original question of like, how do you balance each other out, right? And just his kind of thoughtfulness and knowledge around, you know, what is the why and why is it important? Why does it matter? So, you know, spending time, literally me spending time, weeks kind of like writing it all down, figuring it out, like putting it together in my head to help me kind of map out, why do I want to do this? Why does it matter? Why does it make sense? And then even the next step of that, he was like, you know, okay, great. You have a business plan. I think that makes sense. But what's the market look like? Like, who are the competitors in the space? Who is playing in the space? What are they doing? Why haven't they dotted that? So doing that kind of market research. And I'm like, oh, you're right. So adding in that layer where you're like Googling and trying to figure out who are the key players in the space and what are, you know, kind of navigating that. And he's like, okay, that's great. Now I need you to ask some people, would they even buy it if you made the product? And I'm like, oh, you're right. So then I did a survey and I literally just put it on my Facebook page. And I was able to get over 100 people to respond in my survey on Facebook, just asking them questions about hair products for boys. And is that something that they would use? And which type of products do they use? And which ingredients are important for using? And honestly, that helped build our initial products, what we have right now. Based off that kind of consumer research.
Yeah, and once you get started, you know, even so, you what you've heard so far is like, be scrappy. One, how are you having a level of preparedness in terms of building a business plan, but then also that validation standpoint too, right? Like, how are you gut checking? So before you go and maybe go make a big investment, there are ways to be able to do that. We did a Facebook survey on Google, right? Of people that we connected with, and you have these platforms to be able to check. And then to use with people. But I think too is like also one of the things that's helped us at, even though we're, you know, at 7 months within the company, is also still being humble, but also like humble and hungry go hand in hand together. You know, I tell, you know, the greatest compliment we frequently get is you know, people are like, oh, you know, you guys, like, you showing up amazing, like the way your preparedness, the way you handle situations, you go into things. And then people are like, oh, cool. Like, how long y'all been around? And you're like, like a few months. And they're like, what?
Less than 6 months.
And they're like, huh? And they were like, we would never guess you show up differently, right? So it's, sometimes you think about like the presence that you have and how you carry that. And I think like the way, how it ties back to humble and hungry is like, we know, we're very clear, and it's okay. We are confident in saying what we don't know, but we try fast and hard as hell to close that gap. Right. But we also aren't afraid to go ask questions about it. Right. If we don't know it, we go ask somebody. Right. We go and try to seek. And I haven't met a stranger in my life. I will go ask anybody any question, even if I don't know them. And because otherwise, like, I'd just be sitting here twiddling my thumbs. So go out and truly use and find those experts around and ask a question. Worst they can say is no. Like, closed mouth doesn't get fed is how I always live. Right. So like, always make sure that you're not being too scared or too much to ask of somebody.
Amen to that. And Steph, you just made me think of our book title that we talked about, Chasing the Sun. I'm not gonna let that go. So when you write, hey, everybody, when Steph makes his book, I'm telling you, y'all better run out and buy this book, because I'm telling you, he drops so many. He just tell me about his life story, and that's going to be a whole different interview, because I got 3 more questions to ask y'all before I let you go. But we all come from different backgrounds, and I just want to give props again to Steph, because what he went through growing up and the things that you hear him saying, it was not easy. And the same for Cora. Like I said, Cora's my cousin. Cora taught me how to ride a bike. You know, we used to play in the water hose together in South Central at our grandma's house. Like, we grew up together. And so when I talk about these two stories, it's amazing. And I want you guys to get the things that they're saying is genuine, and it comes from experience, and it comes from a lot of falling down, from disappointment, from hard days, from, you know, master's degrees, bachelor's degrees. It's a lot put into this. So I want you guys to understand it. But great answer. So my next question is, I always ask this: what are some books that you would recommend for people to read who are either entrepreneurs now or coming up entrepreneurs, people about learning business, being a leader? I always ask for 3. If you have more, great. But just what's three books, or even this audio? What's something you would recommend to entrepreneurs or people looking to start a business?
Yeah. We can probably have a little bit of a combo of this. One of the things that we both kind of try to go out and learn on our own, but we also sometimes learn together. We recently, when we took a vacation, one of the things that we love to listen to is How I Built This, right? And it's a podcast, and it talks about, and it features multiple entrepreneurs and just really talking about how they created their organizations, right? The challenges they went through, how they maybe, people see their end success, but they don't see the struggle they had behind the curtain, right? So they really talk about how they look to build it over, over time. And I think, one of the things, we listening to Tristan Walker, good brother that runs Bevel. We had the opportunity to chat with him times. And he just dropping knowledge, right? And I think like just being able to, again, you hear something, you see something, we were like, hey, let's reach out. Like, he might say something. We happened to find somebody that knew Tristan, and they introduced us, and we had a 30-minute, conversation. And that, like, what we took away from that time that we had with him was so impactful, right?
So powerful.
So, so How I Built This, I would definitely recommend. With having a 3-year-old and trying to run a business, I'm not a big book reader. What I do is spend a lot of times actually dissecting articles and where do I go to find knowledge. So for me, I love Business Insider. I love Fast Company. Those are 2 places where I go. And again, it just frequently tells those stories before the celebration of where they are and reach the pinnacle. That goes back to why Cora is probably the better writer than I am. But I will read a good 5-minute article. But those are a few places I personally go to go get some knowledge. And then I'm always trying to refine my marketing ability too. So, and just how we're getting tighter. We spend a lot of time obviously learning how to build a digital company. So I've been reading a lot of articles about that as well.
Yeah. And I would say, to this point, candidly, because we literally have been crazy between work, building the business, and raising a child, that I haven't been able to spend as much time reading books. But to his point, How I Built This is amazing, especially the episode featuring Tristan Walker. So inspiring. He drops so many gems in that.
Like,
so please listen to that.
It's just like
listen
ding,
to
ding,
that.
ding, ding, ding.
I'm listening to it today.
But recently, I actually started following someone on Instagram, Mahadi Woodard. When I tell you, every day he's dropping knowledge like crazy. I could repost him all day. Just his mindset and how he thinks about not only business and entrepreneurship, but just kind of like how you blend that in your life and what that means for you. Just taking a little bit kind of like deeper, just having that kind of a lens that you don't see a lot, like traditionally when you think about all the posts and the articles and books out there around entrepreneurship. He just keeps it real in a way that really resonates for me. So I would definitely recommend to check him out and follow. Oh, he's pulling up.
I'm literally pulling them up. So
this is him on Instagram.
How do you spell Mahadi? Okay.
M-A-D.
No, M-A-H-D-I Woodard. So he's just amazing. So we can put it in the chat too. I would definitely recommend just following him and checking him out.
Okay. No, that's great. That's great. I appreciate that so much. Because again, information, ET always says information changes situation, no matter how you get it. I'm a big podcast guy. Like, I listen to like 6 different podcasts every day. I don't even watch TV anymore. So I'm a big podcast guy. I'm definitely going to add that to the list on top of everything else that I listen to. But thank you for that. Just to address one fun thing about being workers, about being entrepreneurs. One thing that I love about you too is that you travel and you take your son with you most of the time, and he gets to see the world. So tell people, like, what I'm trying to say in my brain is sell me the dream of, yes, we grind. Yes, we work hard. Yes, we're busting our butts sometimes 19 hours a day, sleeping very bare minimum, getting on planes. But sell me the dream of the benefits of why that is crucial now, because I'm about to be 33, so I don't want to give away Cora's age, but she's only a year old. she's, you know, she's
Well,
around the
that.
same age as me. Steph is not too much far away. But what I'm asking is, sell me the dream for a 30-some-year-old who is busting their butt, but the perks of it, like the traveling and things of that nature. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So for the both of us, travel is just, that's our outlet, right? So we do that grind, we work hard, and we reap the benefits of that, and we kind of put our personal extra funds, our fun money, into traveling the world. For us, I guess I'll just speak for me. For me personally, I think that was just something that was instilled in me at an early age. You know, my mom, she can't sit down.
Yeah.
My mom is always
Hey,
always on the go, always traveling. We were always going places, like even just to see family. Like we were just always constantly on the move. And I think because of that, that just made me want to see everything and explore the world. And so I think because we work so hard and we've gotten to a place where we're able to use our funds and take our son with us to go travel and experience some things at a very early age, even earlier than I was able to experience this. I mean, the kid has been to Paris and Morocco. So the kid is well traveled.
Kids fly free under 2.
So that is important for us, to be able to provide those experiences for him that are so important to us, and we want him to be a part of that.
Yeah, and you know, I think too, like we kind of started it off with like, y'all come from a big family, and I'm the only child, right? And was raised as the only child, and met my siblings later on in life.
And he's Jamaican.
Yeah, right. And then you just learn so much about like getting out and seeing the world. Like I'm always just so curious about how people show up. And then the marketer in me is like, hey, when you go explore, you're building up your knowledge set. You're building up to see how different people live and how people interact. And that makes us more thoughtful of how we show up as a brand, as individuals. And you know, it's just so much that there's so much more beyond where we are, right? And just to be able to see and embrace and like go to other places. And you know, Mark will tell y'all, I love a great flight deal. So I will not pay full price to go anywhere. We'll go dope places, but we'll go there cheap.
That's true.
So like, yeah, I think always being able to find that. But travel is just a great way. You know, we want to make sure that, and we're trying to teach America that right now, like we live in a very diverse world, right? And it's our responsibility to know about that and interact with that and learn about that. And, you know, we see it as fun times. We like most of the times when we go places, we don't like to stay in resorts, right? We go stay with the locals. We try to go see how they live and do what they do. We go to some beaches and
I was like, we still like our
might
resorts.
have a hotel now.
I was like, we still like the resorts.
But it's a good balance of just getting in with the people. So I think like you just learn so much. It's not, I tell people, their family is, y'all are from California. We're here in Atlanta. A lot of times I could fly around the world for the price it might cost me to go from Atlanta to California, right? So like, don't think that flights are that expensive. You can go see the world for cheap, and you can do it in a cost-effective way. So get that passport. It's only $100.
Hey, $100. But you know what? I want to tell this story because it always makes me chuckle, right? This is when I knew that you two and Phil and everybody, you guys were just in another class, and I wanted to change my life. No lie, this is where my life completely changed. It was Christmas. I want to say Christmas of like 2012, right? So you'll know what I'm talking about. And we were sitting there, and this is when I first learned about Southwest, their market or whatever crashing, and then prices dropped. And I think it was Phil goes, hey, prices in Dubai are like $200.
Oh,
you and Steph were like, let's get it. Y'all were texting y'all friends. Like,
yeah.
You see this? And y'all bought flights to Dubai. I pull up Facebook again, and guess where y'all at? Dubai. And I was like, I am not on that level yet. I need to get on that level. Like, I need to get there. And I'll never forget that Christmas. My life changed. I'm like, these people just booked. I heard Dubai was expensive. I heard it's this. My cousin's like, oh yeah, like you're gonna buy diamonds there. And I'm like, see, my mind is not open. So I tell that story to all the viewers. You can't be small thinkers. And like Steph said, when you get a flight deal, get it. Because when they were buying those tickets to Dubai, they were all texting each other. And I pull up Facebook months later, and they're enjoying Dubai. I'm like, yeah, I need better friends.
Man, I remember
I need
that
more
Christmas.
money. And I need better
So
friends.
funny.
Because I wasn't there, and I was texting Cora like, pick up the phone.
Oh, was that?
This is before we were married. I'm like, I'm about to go to Dubai without you. I'm like, you trying to roll or not?
But yeah, because Philip was there. We were all texting. That is so
Yeah,
funny.
y'all all texting. And I'm like, why are they so excited about it? Like, how cheap is this? And it was like cheap.
Yeah, it was like
Like,
less than $400.
It was like, I think it was $250
Yeah,
to go fly to Dubai.
Yeah.
Yes. So, man, he dropped the nugget. So, man, you guys been wonderful. My last question I usually like asking people, and again, you can answer as individuals and, you know, couple goals if you want to share. But listen, like I said, we all know Cora's age because she's a year older than me, 1987 over here. You know, my birthday's in a couple days, you know. But anyways, from 19 to 20, those are the years you'll be alive. But when people talk about you and they see that dash in between the years we're alive, what do you want people to remember you as?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess I would want people to remember me as, I don't know, like I guess I'm just trying to think for my son, right? Like I want them to know that I worked, I grinded, I did everything I could to make his life better. I mean, that's
Mine too. She ain't pointing
well,
at me.
not him, but Cade back there. I want people to know that that's why we do what we do. That's why we don't sleep. That's why we work so hard to make sure that he is set up. And we hope that he'll realize that and see that as he gets older. But that's who we do it for. And I hope people, you know, when they look back on my life and he looks back on, you know, being his mom, that he recognizes that and appreciates that.
Yeah. And that, you know, for me, I think, you know, my family is all Jamaican. I'm first born American in my family. My mom came here when she was 18, and used to bust her ass. Like being raised by a single mom, I don't know how she did it. Like we both frequently talk about like, man, if it was like only one of us, or if we went through this and how that is. And I think about all the sacrifices my mom did, and she, you know, like, you know, she always used to say is like, yeah, people try to define you from when you're born and when you die, right? But it's really what you do, like you said, like how do you mind the gap between that, and like how do you mind that dash? And you know, for me, I think, you know, I am a person that, as I look at the world, I understand the things that are going on, but you know, I try to say, how can I do and how can I close the gap to what the world sees, right? So, you know, it in a way, I'm always like, hey, I'm trying to catch our family up 3 generations, right?
Yeah, you told me that.
Yes. Right? Like, of just like from a financial standpoint, for an education standpoint, from an access standpoint. And it's not to forget where you come from, but it's just like, how do you make the burden of being a Black person and being a Black child in the world a easier task? And then have some fun while you do it. I think so many times, like, people give up and think things have to be so difficult. Like, the thing that we do is like, we have so much fun doing this. Like, we spend so much hard work building other companies, and it's like we've gotten so much like happiness and enjoyment even in these like short months of like just doing it for ourselves. And I was like, you know, we say like, hey, we don't want it to, but like we're having fun trying and taking action. So I think, you know, our community, we spend a lot of time talking about stuff and not doing it, right? And I think for me, it's like, yo, we taking action, we trying. Hell, if we fail, we gonna say we failed because we tried and we did it. And cool, we're gonna apply those learnings and go do it again and do it better. All right. But just to be good and leave a better legacy for the kid. And you know, have a little fun while we can do it in a way, and make her smile.
Hey, you make my cousin smile. You're my favorite person in the whole world. Like I said, I love my cousins. Like I love them so much. Like they all done so much for me. And Cora, man, like I said, I don't want to get all emotional, but I love my cousins, and I honestly am so glad that she found you, Steph. She chose you. You know what I'm saying? You married up. That's fact. No.
I did.
But I'm so glad you found her. And those are great words. Now, here it is. pub and tell us about Young King Hair Care. So when people watch this, where they can buy your products, what do you have? You guys got 1 minute. And then while they're saying that, if anybody who's still on here has a question, send it. But tell us about Young King Hair. What do we have? Where do we find it? And they shipped out their home. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Young King Hair Care, we're a natural hair care line intentionally crafted for boys. You can find us and shop at www.youngkinghaircare.com. Also on Instagram and Facebook at Young King Hair Care. What else am I missing?
No, you're good. And I think, like, you know, we're out here just trying to change the narrative of boys and male grooming, right? Yeah, like, you know, a lot of times we don't have to default to cutting our hair off and doing those things. But truly, how are we just changing the narrative of how the world sees, you know, young Black and brown men? So that's really, so we have a hair care line, but that's our mission. That's what we're trying to impact in the long term.
Yeah. We always say we're trying to, you know, celebrate and uplift our Black and brown boys one curl at a time, right?
One curl at a time.
Just how you show up and how you present yourself in the world. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. But too, man, we appreciate you, brother. Like, yo, to have a platform like this to continue to have these conversations. I think, you know, if y'all aren't listening to Mark all the time, y'all need to make sure you always turn the volume on.
He be talking.
He's sharing a lot of knowledge, right? He be talking. But
I be trying to tone it down.
Yeah, you know, that's his ministry though, right? And he knows that. And like, I think people like, you know, just, you know, continue to invest in the time, always support. Like, that's been the most beautiful thing about coming into this family is like, yo, like everybody is one up and everybody like, yo, come on, we all leveling each other up. Like, oh, you doing that? All right, cool. We got to do this. So,
and we just appreciate you, Mark. You always hold us down, always rooting for us, promoting us.
No question.
And we just are so grateful for you. Obviously, you're my fam, so you know I love you from the bottom of my heart. I'm proud of you as a father, just grinding. You just grind, and you'll never stop grinding, and that's what I love the most about you. So I love you, Cuzzo.
Hey, you guys know I have your back. No questions asked. Thank you. Y'all go buy Black, buy Young King's Hair Care. As you see, these people are real. They are giving back to their community. They're giving back to their generations. They're giving back. You guys go get their products. Is that the big homie? There he is. I was waiting for him. What's up, man? I miss you. Hey, Kate, do you remember when you shoot the ball? What do you say, Kate?
What do you say when you shoot?
To the ball.
Oh,
what do you say?
Kobe.
Kobe.
Oh, man, that's my friend. I got to hang out here for a week, and we had a ball. So there it is. That's why they do what they do. They're amazing people. Hey, thank you two for being on. This isn't the last time, so let's do this again. All right.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Say bye, Kate.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks, Mark.
No problem.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Hey, that was a great talk, great interview. I hope you guys took notes. Go back and watch it. Hey, you guys are more than welcome. I'm going to do this every Thursday. I'm going to probably try to move the times to 3 on the West Coast, 6 on the East Coast, because I was doing it at 12. I'm just playing around with it. I'm going to get more guests lined up for you. That was a great talk. And I want you guys to understand something that I always stress about using your gift and using your talent. Everybody has a talent. Everybody has a gift. I know everybody does because it says it in the Bible. You guys I'm always preaching about the word in Jesus Christ, but I'm trying to tell you guys, we all have a gift and we all have a talent. Are there people who we need to work jobs? Absolutely. I've worked at UPS. I've worked at Amazon. I've worked at Popeyes. I've worked at Enterprise. We need those workers, right? We need those people who to serve us and provide customer service. But I'm telling you, use your talent and your gift, whether it's on the side, whether it's in the same amount of time as your regular job. Use your gifts and your talents to get you to that next level. It's like Cora and Stef at the end. I'm not going to let them leave me. I'm not going to let them start a business and then I get lazy and I don't create generational wealth for my kids and my kids. I'm going to make sure I do my part in this business, in this family, to better my life and better their life, better Kay's life, better Cora's life, better Stef's life, better everybody's life. I'm here to serve you. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back next Thursday. If you know somebody who should be a guest or I should go reach out to, hey, I'll reach out to them. I'll get them on here. Send me a shout out. Share this. It's going to be on Facebook, Instagram. It's going to be on my Mark Cooks Inspires YouTube page. Share this. We love you. God bless. MC Inspires Black Superman. And go be the change in this world.